right, so here's the release form, having consent that I can record Mr. Lopez and, my name right there. All right, and here he is. Hello, Mr. Lopez.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Good, you?
Good, good. I'm just going to ask you, a few questions about your culture and just answer it honestly on how you were raised, okay?
Okay.
All right, and the first question is, so let me know about your cultural identity and how do you define yourself. Get an idea of what you do, why you do it, and the basic overview of your snapshot of your life.
Okay, well, my name is Stephen Lopez. I was born October 3rd, 1963 in New York, in the Bronx. I was raised in Puerto Rico from the age of 2 to the age of 11. I went to school in Puerto Rico from first grade all the way through 8th grade. My family background is Puerto Rican. My parents are Puerto Rican. My grandparents, on my mother's side, my grandmother was from Spain. My grandfather was a Caribbean Indian. On my father's side, they were both Spaniards that came to Puerto Rico. And from Puerto Rico, they came to New York at the same time. They came to New York in 1952. And ever since then, they stayed in Puerto Rico. I went to school in Puerto Rico. It was a very poor school. Wooden floors, nothing fancy like they have nowadays. We didn't have gym. They didn't believe in that. A lot of the holidays that we have in the United States, they don't celebrate in Puerto Rico. They didn't start celebrating Thanksgiving until probably the early 70s. Wow. A lot of people are poor. Most of the rich people that are in Puerto Rico all come from the United States. They either go stay in the resorts or the beach, or they buy property out there. Any company that's raised up in Puerto Rico is from the United States, and they hire the Puerto Ricans for the low labor. Actually, that's some money is better than no money. Throughout history, I've learned that a lot of Puerto Ricans were taken as slaves into Hawaii so they could start cropping pineapples, because the Puerto Ricans were good at it and the Hawaiians wanted that. And of course, that became a big business in Hawaii, is the pineapple. There's a lot of Spanish influence in Hawaii, which a lot of people don't know about. Also, Puerto Rico was the mainstay for the slaves when they were brought from Africa to the United States. So that's why you get the mixture of a lot of African and Spanish people. The customs that we have, Christmas is a lot longer because we celebrate extra days. We celebrate the Three Wise Kings Day, which is, you guys call it the Day of the Epiphany. New Year's is celebrated different. Christmas is celebrated with what they call parrandas. And that's when you go in a group and you go from house to house singing, and they let you in and feed you. Financially, the island is not what people think it is. It's a very poor island. And the upbringing for people over there is not the same way it is over here. Education is very low because people they have to drop out of school to go to work. What I do right now is I'm an environmental specialist for the Port of Tampa, and I do that because I care about the environment and people's safety. There's not a lot of Spanish people that do that. Not in the Port of Tampa. You have a lot of Cubans that come in from the Caribbean, but mainly they're welders, and a lot of them don't have the education to do the type of job that I do. I served 13 years in the military as an airborne paratrooper, a helicopter mechanic. I left the Army to rank of staff sergeant, because that was 13 years of that out of my life. So, what else you got?
All right. So basically, you did talk about your customs, and do you have any traditions that you celebrate over there, but you don't celebrate here in the United States at all?
One tradition that I've noticed is different is when a family member dies. Well, back then, they will actually hold the funeral in the person's house. They would never ever go to a funeral parlor because a lot of people just didn't have that kind of money. And the body stayed in the house for maybe 3 or 4 days. And when it was taken to the cemetery, it was always with the hearse in front, and every family member and friends were walking behind. And sometimes these people walk 2 or 3 miles before they got to the cemetery. But, you know, over here, it's a lot different in the United States. But Puerto Rico has picked up that custom of doing it the way it is now, because I guess people have gotten jobs, and I guess health-wise it wasn't considered too healthy to have a decomposing body in the house. You know, same thing with Christmas. Christmas is, again, you go partying from family member to family member house, and then the 3 wise kings, supposed to be the custom there is you're supposed to leave a box full of grass under your bed so the camels could eat food, and in return they left you a gift, and that's not done here. You know, birthday parties were fairly scarce over there because, again, there wasn't any money to have birthday parties. A lot of the food that people ate was grown in their own farm. Any milk came directly from the cow. It wasn't pasteurized like this right now. Sugar cane, people did their own sugar. You know, so it's very interesting to see the way that the old folks took it. So medicine-wise, they didn't have the medicines that they have now. They did a lot of plants and you know, stop.